Google Maps knows the exact shape of every continent on Earth. Ancient map makers didn't. Some of their most famous maps got the shape of the world almost comically wrong. And yet, both were considered fully accurate for their purpose. That's the contradiction. A map can be geographically wrong and functionally perfect at the same time. Once you understand why, you'll never look at a map the same way again. Here's a question that sounds simple, but isn't. How does a person standing in one place reliably get to another place they've never seen before? Not what does the world look like. Just, how do you get from here to there without getting lost, without running out of supplies, without dying on the way? For most of human history, this question was a matter of life and death. Trade depended on it. Empires depended on it. Whole populations moved across oceans and deserts because someone figured out how to answer it. A single wrong turn wasn't just annoying. For a ship crossing open ocean, or an army marching through unfamiliar territory, it could mean running out of food and water hundreds of miles from anywhere. Today, the stakes feel lower, but the question never actually went away. Every time a delivery app tells you your food is 11 minutes out, or a rideshare finds a faster street you didn't know existed, that same ancient problem is being solved in the background. And here's what made it so hard. In every single era, the real world holds far more information than any one mind can carry. So the real story of navigation was never about drawing the world correctly. It was about deciding what to leave out. So how did people solve this before satellites? Before some cultures even had a compass? Two ancient approaches tackled the same problem in almost opposite ways. And underneath the surface, they were doing the exact same thing. The first approach used a physical map, but not the kind of map we'd call accurate today. Around the 6th century BCE, Babylonian scribes carved a map onto a clay tablet known today as the Imago Mundi, the oldest known map of the world. It places the city of Babylon at the exact center of a flat disk, surrounded by a ring of water, with a handful of outer regions that blend real geography with myth. It wasn't drawn to represent the true shape of the Earth. It was drawn to organize a worldview, with the most important city sitting right at the center. Centuries later, the Romans took this even further. Their road maps, like the famous Puddingar table, didn't even try to preserve true geographic shape. Instead, they squeezed the entire road network of the empire into a long, narrow strip, so a traveler could see what came next, in order, without needing to understand true distance or direction. It worked more like a modern subway map than a satellite image. Both maps threw out the same kind of information. They ignored true scale and true shape, because a traveler didn't actually need those things. What a traveler needed was simpler. What's coming next, and how do I get there? That's the real mechanism behind these ancient maps. Not accuracy, usefulness. The second ancient approach didn't use a physical map at all. Polynesian sailors crossed thousands of miles of open Pacific Ocean using nothing but the stars, the ocean swells, the wind, and the behavior of birds and sea life. Navigators organize this knowledge into what's called a star compass, a mental system that divides the horizon into 32 points, each tied to specific stars. Advanced navigators could track over 150 stars across a single long voyage, and when clouds blocked the sky, they switched to reading ocean swells instead, which stay consistent for days at a time. None of this was written down. It lived entirely inside trained human memory, passed from one generation of navigators to the next. So here you have two completely different tools, a distorted clay tablet and a memorized pattern of stars, built by civilizations that never met each other. And they landed on the exact same principle. A map's job was never to tell the truth about the world. Its job was to make one decision possible. Which way now? But every one of these systems still depended entirely on a trained human being holding all of that information in their head. Eventually, something came along that didn't need a person to memorize anything at all. So how does a flat piece of glass in your pocket know exactly where you are, with no stars, no swells, and no years of training? Modern navigation actually splits this ancient problem into two separate jobs that older systems used to handle together: knowing your position and choosing your route. Position comes from GPS. Each GPS satellite carries an atomic clock accurate to about 1/billionth of a second. GPS works by turning time into distance. A satellite sends out a signal, your phone receives it, And the tiny delay between those two moments tells your phone exactly how far away that satellite is. Once your phone picks up signals from at least 4 satellites, it can calculate your exact position on Earth through a method called trilateration. In a strange way, this is the direct replacement for the star compass. Instead of a human memorizing the positions of the stars, machines in orbit are exchanging precisely timed signals traveling at the speed of light. Knowing where you are is only half the problem, though. The other half, choosing the best route, is a newer layer built on top of that raw position data. Google Maps pulls in live traffic information from billions of phones, combined with more than 20 years of historical traffic patterns, and runs it through a mix of classic routing algorithms, including one called Dijkstra's algorithm, sped up with newer techniques so the calculations happen almost instantly. And that live traffic data doesn't come from government sensors anymore. It comes from ordinary people. Every phone with location services turned on quietly reports its speed and position, and when enough phones slow down on the same stretch of road, the system knows there's a traffic jam before any human driver could see it coming. Google has refined this further with machine learning models that also factor in weather, road conditions, and known closures, pushing arrival time accuracy above 97% worldwide. The incentive behind this system is nothing like the ones behind ancient maps. No emperor commissioned Google Maps to project power or organize trade routes. It exists because a private company profits from being the app people default to. The map itself has become a byproduct of an advertising and data business, one that's constantly being redrawn by the very people using it. So the compression trick that ancient map makers relied on hasn't disappeared. It's just moved location. Ancient maps compressed reality once, at the moment someone carved or drew them. Modern navigation compresses reality continuously, recalculating what's useful every few seconds, based on millions of live signals arriving at once. Now strip away the clay tablets and the satellites for a second. What are both of these systems actually doing underneath all the technology? Every navigation system in history, ancient or modern, is actually answering 3 separate questions. Where am I? Where am I going? And what's the best way to get there? Ancient systems answered where am I using relative clues, the angle of a star, the direction of a swell, a number of days sailed from a place they already knew. Modern GPS answers the same question with an absolute, fixed coordinate, locked in by satellites exchanging signals traveling at the speed of light. Ancient systems answered what's the best way there through memory passed down by people, a chant, a scroll, years spent training under a master navigator. Modern systems answer it through constant computation, a route recalculated in real time across a network no single person could ever hold in their mind. It's the same 3-part problem in both cases. What changed is where the thinking actually happens, inside one trained human brain, or spread across a distributed system of machines. Look closely, and some real similarities show up. Both systems deliberately gave up geographic accuracy in exchange for usefulness. A distorted Babylonian tablet and a simplified digital map are solving the exact same trade-off. Leave out what doesn't help the traveler, keep what does. Both systems are also, at their core, built from crowdsourced knowledge. Polynesian wayfinding was crowdsourced across generations, refined slowly by entire communities of sailors testing it against real voyages. Google Maps is crowdsourced across seconds, refined constantly by millions of phones reporting their speed in real time. And in both cases, the traveler has to trust something beyond their own senses. A Polynesian navigator trusted a memorized pattern of stars in open ocean with no way to double-check it. A modern driver trusts an algorithm they will never see and could not explain if asked. But the comparison shouldn't be stretched further than it actually holds. The speed of the feedback loop is nowhere close to comparable. Ancient systems updated over years, sometimes over entire lifetimes. Modern systems update within seconds. The failure modes are different too, and in a serious way. Ancient wayfinding concentrated an enormous amount of expertise in a small number of master navigators. By the middle of the 20th century, that long-distance wayfinding tradition had nearly disappeared entirely from Polynesian societies, because the knowledge lived only in people, and people can stop passing it on. Modern navigation doesn't have that particular weakness. Anyone with a phone can access the same routing power instantly. but it trades that redundancy for a different kind of dependence on centralized corporate infrastructure, with its own questions around privacy and control that ancient sailors never had to think about. Even the purpose behind these maps differs. The Babylonian tablet fused geography with religious belief and political authority. Google Maps strips almost all of that away in favor of pure function, while quietly running on a commercial incentive that ancient cartographers never had to answer to. Underneath all of these differences, though, sits one pattern that hasn't changed at all. In every era, navigation was never solved by getting a more truthful picture of the world. It was solved by building a system, social, institutional, or technological, that could answer one question faster than reality could change underneath it. What do I do right now? A chant encoding 150 star positions and a machine learning model processing billions of location signals are doing the exact same job. Both are ways of moving memory and calculation outside of any single mind, so no one traveler ever has to carry the whole world inside their own head. And that points to something bigger than maps. The real problem humans have been solving, again and again, was never about representing reality with perfect accuracy. It was about compressing overwhelming complexity into something a person could act on immediately. Every field that deals with too much information runs into this same wall eventually. And the systems that win aren't the ones chasing a perfect, complete picture. They're the ones willing to stay a little bit wrong, updated constantly, in exchange for being useful right now. Every generation solved this problem with different tools: a star compass, a clay tablet, a satellite. So here's what I'm curious about. What's something overwhelming in your own life you've had to compress into a star pattern of your own? Work, a hobby, a relationship? Drop it in the comments.